Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll for Wednesday, October 19th, 2022. A long time coming here. I jokingly said behind the stage, I have an easier time getting Stephen A. Smith on than our next guest. Was blessed to meet him back in March during March Madness at the Westgate. We finally got to break bread there, talk some hoops, and now we get him for his debut on the ECSI show. Going to talk a lot of NBA. Opening night last night from right where I am here at the Garden as the Celtics handle the Sixers, and then of course his Lakers versus the world champs. Golden State Warriors. So without further ado, let's bring him on, the one and only Mr. Ski Profit.
What's going on, Jeff? Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I know it took me a while to get here, but let's try to make it more of a regular thing if we can.
100%, sir. 100%. Opening night, one game obviously doesn't make a season. The Celtics, new head coach, a lot of off-season turmoil. Obviously, they bring in Gallinari, who gets hurt. The Time Lord looks like he's going to be out at least till the first of the year. I thought their number one key was bringing in Brogdon. He seemed to fit right in there. So we'll start locally with me. Initial thoughts with the Celtics. They had a good first half, kind of nip and tuck against the Sixers, kind of pulled away in the second half.
Yeah, I did a lot of talking in the offseason about this Celtics team. And even more towards when it got close to the season, we had the drama with the coach, etc. But it didn't look like a team that was dealing with any drama last night. It looked like they picked up right where they left off. Tatum, Brown, both 35 points each. And on the flip side, to me, I didn't like the body language from the Sixers. I know they were competitive for the first half, but it looked like one team that was really focused and another team that, not so much. So like you said, it's only one game. We'll see if the Celtics can keep this consistency, because last year, a big part of why they were good was because Robert Williams was in the lineup. He's their defensive anchor. And when he was out there, their defensive rating took a huge boost. So great first game. We'll see if they can keep it up. And on the flip side for the Sixers, I don't know what Glenn Rivers is doing over there. We don't call him Doc anymore. But it's a lot of just get the ball to Harden, get out the way, or give it to Embiid. A lot of other guys just standing around. I think they need to have more flow in their offense to be successful. So only one game. Didn't like what I saw from the Sixers, and we'll see if the Celtics can keep it up.
We go out west, the ring ceremony. We talk about drama, obviously, the Golden State and Draymond Green with the haymaker, I guess you could say, to Jordan Poole. They kind of threw that under the bus. They're all set. Business as usual there. Take care of the Lakers rather easily. I know you're a big Laker fan. Listen, last year was a disaster. I think we're in year 20 now with LeBron. Mm-hmm. The key, obviously, AD to stay healthy, LeBron to stay healthy. Initial thought, I thought maybe was that they would try to move Westbrook. He wants to bring him off the bench. You're a huge Laker fan. So take us through the process from the summer, your initial thoughts. Are you happy with the makeup of this team? And then obviously what transpired last night.
Oh, boy. Well, I'll tell you this. To start off, yes, I've been a Laker fan all my life, born and raised in Los Angeles, and I do not like Russell Westbrook. I used to like him. I support all LA. I support UCLA, and he was a Bruin. But just what I've seen from him over the last few years, he does not play winning basketball. And I did not want him to come to the Lakers in the first place. I was not a fan of the trade. And when I saw the trade, you know, I speak very highly of the Lakers. I'm not shy. When I think we're going to be good, I'll let everybody know. But I didn't think this team was going to do anything. And I'm still in that same boat. I mean, he's a guy who doesn't really take much accountability. He's not playing much defense anymore. He's not giving you much anything on offense. So, and with him on the court, it messes up the spacing for everybody else. I don't want to say the reason the Lakers are bad is all his fault, but it's a terrible fit. You see, Lakers are continue to shoot a lot of 3-pointers every game, even though they don't have that many good 3-point shooters. It's because how teams are defending them. They see who they have out there on the floor, and they want them to shoot all those shots. So until they fix that situation, which in my mind, I have no clue why they haven't made that trade for Brogdon. I mean, not Brogdon, for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield yet, because that's going to fix a lot of problems that they have. And if they want to be any kind of competitive, like that's not going to for sure make them a contender, but it'll make them competitive and, maybe give LeBron something to go out with, because as constructed right now, it's looking rough for the Lakers this season. The Warriors.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The Warriors, when we have these ring ceremonies or in all kind of sports where the team is, coming off of winning the championship, I like to think at least that first game they're not really that focused. But I feel like either they were focused or the Lakers are just that bad, because they put a spanking on them. They're up by 25 points. But this Warriors team looks like they got a lot better. They lost Gary Payton, the second or the third, I forget which one it is, but they lost Gary Payton, and he was one of their good perimeter defenders. But they play great team defense. They're well coached. It doesn't look like the Jordan Poole, Draymond situation is affecting the team at all. I've been on a team, Jeff, where, and some of the guys that I'm talking about, or at least one of the guys is in the NBA right now, where it is a fight in practice, just like that, fist fight, guys going at it. And, they got over it, finished the rest of the season just like regular. So I think the Warriors will be okay. We talked a little bit about it, I think, before we came on here. The odds already dropped $1 for them to win a championship from plus 600 to plus 500. So I think they're rightfully favored.
I was a part of the playoff run last year with the Celtics. A good friend of ours has season tickets. I was blessed and honored to go to the opening game against the Bucks. I told them Celtics are going to lose by double digits, and Bucks boxed the wire them. I was there for game 3 against the Heat. I didn't have a good feeling. We lose that game. I was offered to go to the playoff championship against the Warriors. I says, I'm not going anymore. That guy. Motivation-wise, the Warriors have been there numerous times. I don't want to say, what do they have? I mean, listen, when you start winning these championships, you just take it to the next level. I remember the pictures with this. I get all that. Listen, I'm 45 minutes from Foxborough and Gillette. So for 2 decades, I had to put up with the Patriots nonsense and the rings, the one for the thumb and all that bullshit. So as a Celtic fan, 18 banners. Oh, we're going for 18, actually. It's not like the old days with Larry Bird and those guys, and even Paul Pierce, where you bleed green, Hakeem. It's a business. It's sneaker deals. It's endorsements. It's your 2K ratings. Am I in the right spot to get a music deal? You're young. Can you explain the difference of the old basketball and today's basketball and the young generation?
People might not like what I'm saying or maybe not agree, but the way I look at it, I mean, the one person, and I know everybody's not like this, but the way Kobe Bryant was and how he approached the game, that was like more so how not everybody was on Kobe's level. I'm not saying that, but just the seriousness and, to their craft it was a lot more intense. Now it's like everybody just wants to play. They're just throwing money around to anybody. It doesn't matter if you're that good. That's why you hear the players like Charles Barkley and Shaq saying, yeah, they're giving this guy $150 million and he's not doing anything. I mean, that's why these guys don't care. So it's tough. Not everybody has that same passion to play once they start making a lot of money, but that's the way I look at it.
I'm going to throw you a curveball before we start breaking down some futures, some East, some West. We'll get into today's card. What do you think of, and I'm going to mispronounce his name, Wembayamba, whatever his name is. They're saying the greatest prospect, even bigger than LeBron.
I could be mistaken, but I feel like I saw him play in EuroLeague, and maybe it was. I feel like I saw him play before this hype that he's getting right now. But just the build. What is he, 7'4"? And he can dribble it. He could dribble it like a guard. You see him shooting fadeaway threes from the corner. I mean, if you're gonna be that height and be able to play like a guard, we always talk about, or not we specifically, but everybody talks about how special KD is offensively. We've never seen anybody like this. Everybody who's been above 7 feet has been just, strictly center position, not handling the ball and doing everything he's doing. So the hype for LeBron, in my opinion, was a lot bigger from what I remember, but he has potential. He can be a lot better if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, they're talking about Tankapalooza, and they're talking about actual teams giving up big pieces to make sure they're in a position to potentially land this guy. So like you said, health with that frame, I can just imagine him 2-3 years from now filling out like a Giannis has, and he's going to be unstoppable.
What you're saying about the tanking, like, I can't help but think, why is Greg Popovich still coaching? Like, is he just waiting to see if they can get this guy? Like, that's what I'm thinking about, like this Spurs team, because with that roster, I feel like he should hang it up.
No, you're absolutely right. They had the David Robinson. Then they bring in Tim Duncan, and that's what everyone's saying is they could just see him hanging around trying to get one more ring once they land him. That's a great spot, Ski.
I love it. And that's really the only thing that makes sense to me. So we'll see what the Spurs do.
I'm going to throw it over to you. I have DraftKings in front of me. I know you talked about Westgate. Wherever you grab your odds, I know we just started the season. Maybe you can help the general public, people watching and listening today, or who will download this on YouTube and Twitch, where some of your early tickets are, your leans maybe for potential futures, East, West, Rookie of the Year, Player of the Years, however you have initially started your NBA portfolio this year.
Well, I have a little bit of everything. I have win totals, I have futures, I have it all. So I guess I'll start with, talking about a little bit of plus money and things of that nature, which is going to be, when we look towards divisions and things like that. So last season, that's where I'll start. I narrow down and I see which one of these divisions has a favorite that can be upset. Like, where is the money to be made out of, these divisions? And last year it was the Atlantic. You had the drama with the Sixers, with Ben Simmons, et cetera. And then it was the Nets who had some drama going on too, and Kyrie couldn't play all the time, and so that created value in that market. And I took the Celtics. So this year, I feel like there's no more drama anywhere else. The Sixers, they figured their stuff out. Harden's there for his second year. The Nets, Kyrie's going to be playing full time. Ben Simmons is over there playing now. They figured their stuff out, and now Boston is the favorite. Milwaukee, their team that still has to be dealt with. I just feel like Boston is not that same top team. So for me, and this is just process of elimination when I'm looking at Eastern Conference. For me, my bad. Open up my little note sheet here. I already started with the Celtics don't deserve to be the favorite. I cross off the Sixers because you have to trust Embiid to stay healthy, which that's been like his biggest problem over the years. And I know Harden looked good in his first game, skinny Harden, but year after year after year, we've seen Harden is not trustworthy in the playoffs. So until he shows me, I'm not going to believe it. Then I go a little bit further, and I'm looking at the Bucks. So I'm starting to think, who can beat the Bucks? I've seen them sweep the Heat in the playoffs already before. The team that I think that they need to avoid, a team that can really give them problems, is the Cleveland Cavaliers, just because of, the trees that they have, it allows them to protect the paint and defend the paint. And, that's what Giannis eats at. So if they can avoid them, I think they have the best shot. They got an offensive boost in Ingles. They'll get Middleton back. They missed him for his last 10 playoff games. They have the best player in the East, and he's always available. You don't have to worry about him being injured. And in my opinion, you can argue if you want. I think they have the most chemistry and the most experience winning in the East because they won it all. So if I have to pick somebody from the East, it's going to be the Bucks at a little bit over $3.
I love that. That's where my eyes are.
I love that we line it up there. Process of elimination. I have a division winner too, and it's kind of along the same concept as far as I kind of flipped when I was talking about the division, then I went to the conference. But let me go back to the division a little bit, that Atlantic division. We want to fade the Celtics. I know they look good last night and all that good stuff, but who is it going to be? Are the Sixers going to challenge them in the division? They're a good regular season team, or is it going to be the Nets? And I came up with the Nets.
Okay. And
the reason was last season they got embarrassed. They got swept, right? Kyrie he's talking about it. He says, it's motivation. We needed that humbling experience. I look at, they still have 44 wins last year. And that's with Kyrie playing halftime, not even playing at home. Harden was injured some of that time. Harden drama. Harris was out. They had Seth Curry half of a season. There was a stretch where KD missed some time and they lost 10 games in a row. So I think there's a lot of potential for this team to, eclipse that 50 win total. I look at the rest of the roster. They're pretty deep. I like Cam Thomas. He's a bucket. Veteran guard and Patty Mills. I trust him. And we'll see what TJ Warren can bring back coming off that injury. I like the idea. We'll see how it shakes out. I know Ben is a really good defender. And also, I can't forget to mention Royce O'Neal. He's a good defender to add over there too. So they should both boost their defense. But like how Golden State plays that, what do you call it? The death lineup, that small ball lineup. You can now do something like that with this Brooklyn Nets team. And that's kind of the direction the NBA is going. I know there's a couple of bigger guys they have to deal with over there. But at plus 230 and all those reasons I listed, I think we can beat the favorite there. And the only reason I didn't take them to win the Eastern Conference is because I still don't think they have enough rim protection when it comes to a series versus Giannis. But division plus 230, I think that's a good number.
I like where your eyes are there as well.
I love hearing that. Yeah, I have a little bit on everything. So, we can go through any of the teams we like, NBA, I'm ready to talk.
So and I love the way you broke that down. And listen, you get a Tatum, you get a Brown. They're just coming into their prime. I don't know. Listen, Udoka, if you go back last year, the first half of the year, the Celtics, they were awful.
Yeah.
And then as the start of the new year, they finally bought in. They went on that magical run. Now you take him out. Their new head coach is a Division II head coach. That's his claim to fame. Now, listen, he was tried to be poached by Danny when Danny made the move and got his Utah coaching staff. They kept him. I think they're trying to get back, and I'm going to butcher his name. He starts with an L. He's been on Lavarnier. He was with the Celtics for 9 years. They're trying to get him back on the bench there. I love the motivation factor with the Nets. The thought process. I mean, Ben Simmons is the biggest wild card in the whole NBA this year. We didn't get to see him last year. If KD and Kyrie can mold Ben together, I mean, that's the big three in the whole NBA right there. So motivation, your eyes on the Bucks. That's where my eyes are to come out of the East. And I got a good feeling that they're going to get back into the championship potential. I don't know if Giannis will be the MVP. A lot of people like Doncic this year, yada, yada, yada. So with that said, let's tiptoe out west. I guess the first question would be, can we dethrone the Warriors number one. Number two, are you buying the Zion hype? You got a ticket for them to get into the playoffs. Can he stay healthy? Who's the Suns of the last 2 years out west? Again, the stage is yours. You can pluck any which way you want to go.
Well, I'll start with the Zion question. I'm not a big fan of Zion. He's a great talent and a great player. He can score. He's a big force. It's no secret. I like shooters, and he is not a shooter. So, not a Zion fan. Now, as far as the Pelicans are concerned, I do expect them to take a big step forward. I mean, CJ came over there, kind of changed the culture a little bit. They feel like they're more of a winning team and not just going out there playing games. And their roster is actually good. Brandon Ingram, he's a bucket. CJ's a bucket. And you bring Zion back, he can go get a bucket too. It's just going to be if they can lock in and play some defense. And they have some length to be able to do so. 44.5 wins was their win total. I had to go up and over that. That was one of my, more favorite win total bets this year. And I feel like I checked when to make playoff odds, and theirs was not plus money. It might have been a price that I didn't like, but I definitely think they're going to make the playoffs. That's just the only reason it's not in my pocket. Now, moving on a little bit in the West, some other teams that catch my attention. You said who's going to be the Suns. If I had to pick a team to be the Suns, it might be on the East Coast, actually. So, and that would be the Cavaliers.
Okay.
But on the West, teams that I still like, you have to like Denver. I mean, back-to-back MVP and Joker, and he's finally going to get some help now. You have, well, first of all, they got KCP, they got Bruce Brown, but he got his guys back. He got Jamal Murray, MPJ. It's just, they have a lot of firepower over there. And for the most part, those guys have, been together. They were around during the bubble, still playing together. So I think they still have that chemistry. And it's just going to be about if they can play defense, because they're going to be able to score with the best of them. If the Nuggets can play some defense, they can make some noise. And Jokic is going to be a matchup problem for a lot of people too. So I know they're a little bit over plus 1,000, I think, to win the West or something like that. So I'm going to take a little bit of a long shot. I think that might be one of them. Other than them, I do look towards the Mavericks a little bit. And I wish I had their, because I'm blanking out a little bit, but they had a couple pickups. I know they got Christian Wood. They added another center. They got an actual center too. And I know they lost Brunson, but I think Dinwiddie's going to be able to carry the weight. And this is a team, we saw Jason Kidd last year in the playoffs show that he can scheme and bring up a defense for anybody, because he had the Suns looking very mediocre with the game plan that he put out there, and all the guys bought in. So it's still a couple of defenders over there, Dorian Finney-Smith and another guy that I'm blanking out on right now. But I really like the Mavericks. They have arguably one of the best players in the NBA, and Luka Doncic. And we know when it comes to the playoffs, that star power is pretty much everything. For example, if and I know a lot of people love the Clippers, but Clippers are going to clip. That's just how it goes. You have to bank on Kawhi being healthy, Paul George being healthy, John Wall being healthy, et cetera, et cetera. And if we just think about, what have we seen in the last few years? Whenever the Mavericks play the Clippers, I'm telling you, I haven't seen anything that said it, but just from watching the games and seeing him play, Luka does not like the Clippers, and he makes it a point to go after those guys. As soon as the game starts, he is lighting them up, 15 points in the first quarter. And it doesn't matter if Kawhi is guarding them, Paul George is guarding them. So I just think, with a player like that and with a coach like Jason Kidd who can scheme defensively, they have a good shot. And they're around the plus 800 mark. So if I have to pick right now for somebody other than the top dog, that's who I'll pick. But I had to roll with the top dog. They're $3 to win the West, and they're down to plus 250 now after yesterday's game. They're probably going to continue to go down. You're not going to get these prices as the year goes on, but they just play the game the right way, and it's the same core who's been together forever. You add a couple pieces back, what they get? You get Wiseman, who brings a vertical threat and just a big man that they've been needing. It's just very hard for me to see any team beating the Warriors here.
Last year, I have to give myself props before the season started. Warriors was our play at 10-1, 11-1 before it started obviously dropping. Our two dark horses into the East got out guns a-blazing. That was the Bulls and that was the Heat. We got some tickets late on the Celtics there. I want to ask you a question, and I think you're going to call me crazy, but I have to ask you. You're the expert here. Can the Minnesota Wolves be this year's Memphis?
They can be, yeah. I mean, Rudy Gobert is going to increase the team's defense, tremendously. He's going to make up for a lot of everybody else's deficiencies. So Cat will be able to do whatever he wants. And that roster is really talented. I looked at a stat or a picture, however you want to call it. I think it was yesterday on Twitter. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns weighs 240 pounds. Anthony Edwards weighs 239. He's beefing up, I think he's going to have a really big year. He was already killing everybody last year. And just to have somebody you can rely on, to have your back on the back end, I'm high on this Minnesota team. I don't know if I guess Memphis didn't do too much. They had regular season success. They didn't do anything in the playoffs. So I guess they can be that Memphis team.
Okay. So you got a Warriors Bucks. Is that where your head is right now?
Absolutely. If I had to make an exact ticket, it would be Warriors versus the Bucks. The team that I think is a dark horse in the East, though, is those Cavaliers that I talked about. Just because, I mean, if I look at the roster, let me pull it here in front of me. This starting five: Garland, Mitchell, LeVert, Mobley, Allen. That's a really talented roster. And I think about what they were doing last year. A lot of it was just with the defense. And for example, I'm going to just look at this Cleveland and Toronto game today, right? Toronto is a good defensive team. But Cleveland, every position here, I think can play a little bit of defense. Obviously, Mobley's a defensive player of the year candidate. He could just float. And Jared Allen brings that extra rim protection. And they play this shell defense where they don't gamble. They just keep you in front of you. And they know they got that help on the back end. And just when they have to, they rotate, they switch well. And I love it. I hear Donovan Mitchell talking about this team. He says, with more talent around me, I'm going to focus on the defensive end. So he's coming in, buying in. And, I just think this defense is going to take another step. And I think the defense for Cleveland is better than Toronto. And just when I look at the other side, a lot of teams are going to be like this. Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr. versus Garland and Mitchell, they're going to eat them up. And Garland and Mitchell can defend them on the other side. So I just think this Cleveland team is really dangerous. I like the coach as well. That's my dark horse if I had to pick anybody from the East.
For the general public who's looking to grab a few tickets on the Cleveland side, would you do over on the wins? Would you take a little swing at winning the division? Maybe a small piece of, I call it pizza and beer money, to get out of the East? How would you have them go in and to get a little something on the Cavs?
Well, I'll be, I'm always honest, but I do not have an actual future on the Cavs.
Okay.
Now, with that said, if I was going to place a future, it would be Cavs to win the division, just because all it takes is a little bit of an injury or something for the Bucks during the regular season, and they have a shot because they're really good at plus $3. I think that's an amazing price to be able to get in on the Cavaliers. And as far as the win total, it did creep up from low 40s to high 40s, and I still think they're capable of getting near it. But again, I didn't put it in my pocket. What I chose to do was I looked at the beginning of their schedule, and I don't have it in front of me. Let me see. I looked at the beginning of their schedule, and I feel like it was a little soft to start. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I know I like them out the gate, the first 5 games or so. So that's how I'm looking to try to play them and take advantage. I think they're going to be mispriced. For this first game, they opened +5 or somewhere around there, and they're already down to +2.5. Until the bookmakers figure out that, Cleveland is actually this good, I think you bet them game after game after game.
Before we wrap up, Hakeem, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games on the docket. The true opening night here in the NBA. I know you got a lot of shows today. We can't thank you enough, obviously, for coming on early in the West Coast time here. I owe you a couple cups of coffee for sure there. Anything grabbing your eye this morning to throw out to the people, props, leans, under-overs, or whatever you see on tonight's slate?
Well, I'll just shout out some things really quick. First on props, I haven't played any yet, but obviously Halliburton double-double or his, assist or points and assists is really intriguing. He was killing that last year, and he's at the starting role in Indiana. They're going to play fast, and there should be plenty of opportunities for him to get those points and assists. So looking at that, if you like anything about the Rockets today, I think you just bet Jalen Green points. To end last year, he was like consistently going over. They had to raise his points every single game until it got to like 25 and a half, 26. And last I checked, I saw 22 and a half. So if anybody's going to have success over there on Houston, I think it's Jalen Green. But I like the Atlanta side. This Rockets team, they're not good. They weren't good last year. They didn't do much to fix their team this year. They have absolutely no rim protection. Like, who's starting? Sengun? And like they signed Cauley Stein, they signed Favors, and then what? They got rid of them. Like, they don't have, not that those guys are great, but they don't have anybody to protect the rim. I don't see one defender in this starting lineup. So I think Atlanta's going to score at will. It's their home opener. They're all excited to be playing with each other with Murray over there, et cetera, et cetera. So I like the Hawks. The Rockets as a road dog last year were a 56.8% fade, and they lost by an average of a little bit over 12 points per game. And the Hawks as a home favorite were somewhere like 57.5% against the spread. So Hawks minus the 9.5. I like that. And I talked about Cleveland. I'm high on this team. I took them on the money line, and I think they win. And I think we continue to hammer them, like I said, until the books catch up.
The one and only Ski Profit at Wager Talk. As we always close here, we flip the stage to you. Tell everyone where they can go to get your picks, what you got going on this week, this weekend, NBA, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, well, you can find everything I do. I mean, I tweet it out on Twitter at Ski Profit. Also, all of my work on wagertalk.com. But yeah, I've been doing pretty good in MLB lately. Playoffs 14-3 so far.
Nice.
So try to keep that going there. EuroLeague has started. I'm 3-1 there. And I'll tell you, I'm on Real Madrid minus 5.5 today. So hopefully I can give you a winner with that. And yeah, like I said, all of my work is on Twitter at Ski Profit. So just follow, and you can find everything I do there.
The one and only Ski Profit. We can't thank you enough here. I mean, we just blink in 34, 35 minutes. So we will definitely start working with you, trying to get you on a regular basis. I love all your work. I've loved it forever. Been a big, big fan. And a lot of people been asking. And I said, sooner or later, we're going to get you. We got you for the start of the season. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I appreciate you having me. You do great work too, and you're a good guy. And, it's fun doing this show, and we'll do it again.
All right. All the watching and listeners, in less than an hour, Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk at McGinnis Picks will follow up with our weekly trip across the border. And then later on tonight, we'll have the closing bell with myself and Southside Riley. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Ski Profit at Ski Profit and Wager Talk, we wish everyone a blessed day, a great morning and afternoon. Have some fun, and we will see you soon.